presentation today about studying options of medicine or health sciences in particular. I'll be talking mostly about Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, the basic undergraduate or postgraduate medical degree in Australia and New Zealand. I will also be covering the other two main areas like main areas of study like dentistry as well as veterinary science. They are very, very similar, but the major focus will be on medicine per se. Now, if, in other words, if you are eligible for medicine, you would be eligible for any other program, obviously. So, if you are the applicant or if you are a prospective student listening to me now, it'll be very important for you to understand that the most, difficult program to get into anywhere in the world, as far as you know, tertiary education is concerned, is of course medicine. Now, let us look at the some of the factors as far as the you know yeah I think yeah some of the factors that we what do you say some of the factors that impact the chances of getting into medicine. Fundamentally, medicine is for those people, and this is very, very important. Medicine is for those people who are really, really important, serious about studying, right? So if you're not serious about doing medicine, if you're considering medicine as one of the many options that you might want to get into, then probably there's a very high chance that you may not make it. So if you are a person who is focused on medicine, dentistry, or veterinary science, where you say 100% that's my option, then yes, you have a very good chance of getting into it, provided you also match up your aspiration to become a doctor. You also make, uh, excuse me, just for a second. So, yeah. So medicine is an area where only very serious students can get in at the end of the day. Now, what are the prerequisites to get into medicine? In Australia and in New Zealand, you have two ways of entering into a medical program. Number one is that, of course, you can do it soon after high school education. That's number one. Number two is, of course, you can get into medical program after completing a undergraduate degree. So that's what we call the graduate entry medical program. Now, the majority of students at present, who might have, if you are a high school graduate or if you've just appeared at the high school exams, then yes, most certainly your opportunity to study medicine depends on the subject that you have studied. Now, for an undergraduate student, it is significantly important that it is non-negotiable that you must have studied chemistry, of course, and you don't need to study physics. Like in many countries, you're not required to study physics. It is also important to study, mathematics. So you must have studied mathematics and chemistry to meet the minimum eligibility to, apply to study medicine in these two countries. And if you haven't studied mathematics, then yeah, you can, 100%. It's non-negotiable. So obviously, the only opportunity you might have in the future is to go for a graduate entry medical program, and I'll talk about it a bit later, down the line. So you must have mathematics, you must have chemistry, and you must also score at least 95% marks in your final exams. That's your class 12 exams. If it is ICSE, CBSE, national boards in your respective countries, AS levels or IB. I think IB would be 38 minimum to become eligible for for admission. Now, in addition to that, you also have to meet other admission requirements like number one would be that for many universities, they need you to take a test called UCAT, University Clinical Aptitude Test. This is an international test, and UCAT scores are significantly important for you to get into the program. And UCAT does not test your subject skills; they test your analytical skills, logical reasoning, and other relevant skills to become a well-equipped, well-rounded doctor. So UCAT test is important, is an important part of the selection process. You may also be required to attend interviews if you are, if you are selected after the UCAT test and after looking at your grades. So you need mathematics and chemistry. You need very high scores. You need UCAT test, and you also may have to clear interviews for the admission process. Now, when we look at the number of positions available, number of seats available for international students, it could be less than 5% across universities. And in Australia, there are about 15 universities that offer medical programs, whereas in New Zealand, there are only two. And in New Zealand, compared to Australia, by far you have the least number of medical places. So New Zealand offers only a couple of hundred medical places, medical positions, at these two New Zealand universities. So the other criteria to keep in mind is, yes, it is by far the most expensive, study program. There is no course that is less than $70,000 annual fee, right? So you must have the capacity to pay at least 70,000 Australian dollars fee, annual fee, and it can go up to $85,000 to $90,000, depending on the university you're going to or you choose to study at. This is different for domestic students or local students here. They would get highly subsidized fees, but they still have to pay a relatively much higher fee to study medicine in these two countries. So this is about the bachelor's program. Now, coming to the master's program or graduate entry program, you must have completed a bachelor's degree in any discipline, and you should have completed it in the last 10 years, generally within the last 10 years, or you could also take this, apply while you're doing your last year of bachelor's program in your country. For undergraduate students applying for the graduate entry medical program, you must complete what we call GAMSAT. And UCAT and GAMSAT are two different tests. UCAT is for undergraduate students, and GAMSAT is for graduate students, and they are conducted by two different organizations. UCAT is offered in some international destinations, whereas GAMSAT is offered only in Australia and in New Zealand. And you also have an option of doing the GAMSAT with a remote proctoring arrangement. So, well, basically what you have to remember is if you are an undergraduate student, you have to take GAMSAT. If you are a high school graduate, you have to take UCAT. Now, while this looks very, very difficult, there are also some easier pathways to medicine. For example, there are biomedical degree programs with assured entry to a medical program. So where you study biomedicine for a couple of years, you complete your first degree in biomedicine, and then or biotechnology, and then you progress to your medical degree. So once you complete your bachelor's degree, obviously it's a 4-year study. So your medicine will be 4 years, whereas if you are a high school graduate, it could be somewhere between 5 to 6 years minimum, no matter which university you go to. So the duration is 5 to 6 years for high school graduates, whereas for undergraduate students or undergraduate students applying for postgraduate study, it is a 4-year Doctor of Medicine MD program. Now, what is also interesting is no matter which pathway you take, at the end of your medical degree, You will start with the house urgency, and you will also, start on a typical career path, which is very different from other countries. Now, there is no postgraduate study in medicine, as in the MD programs or specialization programs offered in many countries, including in India. We do not have a specialization program where you can go to a university and study, for example, a master's in oncology, a master's in, gynecology, or or any of those, psychiatry, you name it, any of those branches. So we do not have a master's program where you can just study for 2 years and then become a consultant or a senior doctor. The career pathway for medical graduates would be to start with house urgency, and then you work as a resident medical officer for a couple of years. When you become eligible to apply and become what we call a registrar, a junior registrar. Now, while doing your residency, you are meant to deal with at least 3 departments in medicine, a minimum 3 departments. And by the time you finish your tenure as a resident, and when you're ready to apply to become a junior registrar, you would have decided the department you want to specialize in. So you would apply for positions like junior registrar, ophthalmology, a junior registrar, pediatrics, or whichever, depending on your choice of specialization. As a junior registrar, you will work. You'll report to a senior registrar. You'll form part of a group of junior registrars working under a senior registrar, and who eventually reports to a consultant doctor. Now, a couple of years, at least 3 years of practice as a junior registrar, you can then apply to become a senior registrar. And once you become a senior registrar, of course, now you have to manage teams. So you become a team leader. You'll manage teams, a team of junior registrars in your department. And then, of course, you'll still be directly reporting. In this case, you'll be directly reporting to your senior consultant or consultant ophthalmology. Once you complete an approximate period of at least 10 years of practice, including residency, junior registrar, as a junior registrar and as a senior registrar, you will then become eligible to take the fellowship exam of the specific Royal College of your department. So Royal Australian New Zealand College of Ophthalmology, Pediatry. You just substitute the department name depending on your specialty, your specialization. Now, the other point to remember here is that these things are not automatic. You have to apply and win. And of course, there are plenty of positions available. It's very, very rare that you will be turned down through the registrar positions. But the biggest challenge would be when you have to clear your fellowship exam. Now, fellowship exam is perhaps one of the most stringent examinations. It is very difficult for locally grown doctors, but it is also mandatory for foreign doctors to practice in these countries. So if you're applying for a registration, with a medical degree from an overseas country other than Australia or New Zealand, obviously you have to still do this, the fellowship exam or the assessment, and that is one of the toughest nuts to crack. And the informal information that we have is that less than 20% of doctors, foreign doctors who try to clear it, actually clear it easily. There are many who do not clear it at all for years on. But you can continue practicing as a doctor, as a senior, registrar, no issues. But for you to become a consultant in your field, where you can actually start looking at further studies, further research and all, it is pertinent that you have to become a consultant and become a fellow of, the Royal College of your department, basically. For example, Royal College of Australia, New Zealand, Royal College of Pediatrics, for example. So you become a fellow. Once you clear the exam, you become a fellow, and all the senior consultants, or you become a consultant doctor. So you become a consultant pediatrician, consultant ophthalmologist. So that's when you literally arrive. It's an executive position. Every major hospital would have, executives in their respective, departments. So if a hospital offers care in 10 departments, they certainly need to have people heading those departments with a fellowship. Now, people with the fellowship are heading those departments, right? And basically, it's a 9 to 5 job as a consultant. You don't have to attend hospitals like the doctors do. No shift work, but again, you'll be in charge of what the whole the entire operation of your department within the hospital system. Now, this is about getting into a bachelor's program or a master's program and the pathway. Now, the best part here is that what if you don't meet the requirements? And one other requirement, of course, is English language requirement. To become a doctor, you have to have minimum of band 7 in IELTS, listening, reading, and writing and speaking in academic test, or equivalent, and that's the only test acceptable or recognized for this qualification. So you must have that. Now, what if you don't? What if you don't have the prerequisite? If you don't meet the prerequisite, the answer is that you still have options. There are many options where you can take alternate pathways, but the platform like this does not provide to elaborate those alternate pathways for two reasons. One, they are very different pathways. There's not just one pathway. Two, it entirely depends on your background as well. So the best thing to do for you would be that if you think you do not meet the requirements or you are not able to pay the fee, of about, as I said, about $70,000 to $80,000 on an average annual fee. I mean, if those are barriers for you, or if you have not studied mathematics in your year 12th, if you don't have mathematics in your senior secondary, then the best thing to do is to talk to us. We specialize in guiding youngsters like you, students, as well as professionals to seek international careers in countries like Australia and New Zealand. And we are more than happy to support you with your journey. Our system is very simple. Before we can give you study options or university specifics, it is very important for us to assess your eligibility. And it's also equally important for you to make those assessments with a very clear career plan. So we would certainly be asking you questions about what do you want to do in your career, how long do you want to work in Australia, New Zealand, or wherever you plan to work. So those aspects are very, very important in making the right choices of study for you. And you can be rest assured that Team iQuery, the admissions team, the team of international career counselors, they are trained and supported thoroughly to make sure that your needs are understood, your qualities are assessed, your qualifications are assessed, and then you're also provided with a professionally guided plan. We also will continue to support you to execute the plan, of your career and education and employment when you come to Australia or New Zealand through us. So the basic quality of service or USPs that we provide as iQuery continues to be afforded to medical students as well. One question to remember, whether you are a parent or a student listening to me right now, is that medicine, medicine, veterinary science, or becoming a veterinarian or a dentist, the key question you have to ask is, where do you want to practice? So if you want to practice in a particular country, it is best to study there, right? And the second best option would be to get a degree from elsewhere, and then go through the grueling, very long, tedious process of applying for registration, clearing the exams, and only a limited number of people actually clear the exam. The majority do not, in other words. So if you are a dentist qualified from other countries, you would have a good opportunity to clear the exams, but the majority of people who take the exam do not qualify. So you always run a risk of not becoming a dentist in spite of doing dentistry, or not becoming a doctor in spite of doing medicine elsewhere. And that's precisely why we need to really plan well, think about it clearly, at least after you've done medicine. So going back to my first statement, I think initial statement that if to get into medicine, you must be a serious contender. If you're not serious, it's best to consider other options. There are many other options that are equally good that can give you what perhaps medicine would give you. And then finally, the best part is reserved to the end. And the final aspect is that should you settle in countries like Australia and New Zealand, you will always have an opportunity to go back to your medical school. So, for example, this is just a clue for you. For example, instead of medicine, you did engineering, or instead of medicine, you did an allied health course like nursing, podiatry, um, physiotherapy or occupational therapy, for example, or you even did a teaching degree or a humanity degree in a humanity department. It what these two countries provide you with is the opportunity to go back to medical college with a degree, and that is exactly where the graduate into medical program comes to picture. But once again, these are generic information. Now, if you are a serious contender, if you are a serious aspirant of medicine, whether as a high school graduate or as a undergraduate student from any country, do get in touch with us. What we can help you with is to, first of all, make sure that you meet the minimum requirements or prerequisites, and two, then provide you a plan for education, employment, career, and should you wish to stay longer in Australia or New Zealand, we will also include your prospects for migration. Right. So we will cover all these aspects in our screening and counseling process, and we'll provide you with a written plan as we do with all our students, and then we will help you execute your plan over the next 5 to 7 years if you're doing medicine. So that's roughly it. And what do you say? The talk about medicine in general is concluded now. I'll try to answer some of your questions. Look, I think there's a question here. Do you offer assistance with past papers? Right. Yeah. Look, there are no discounts. There are no shortcuts, because getting into this program itself is like, or winning a big prize. So it's highly competitive, and there are thousands of people waiting out. Why would anybody give you extra consideration? So especially if you're applying as an international student, there are no additional consideration. Most of the things are non-negotiable. So that's what I said. Like, it's a very hard call to make, and you can make it successfully only if you are a very, very serious, genuinely serious contender. If you're just trying medicine just because medicine sounds good, or somebody has told you that, yeah, it's one of the things. If you are considering medicine as one of the many things you're thinking about, perhaps you should not think about medicine, because it's not worth the effort, right? And even after putting in the effort, it's quite possible that you may not get through. That's that's a reality. But that's exactly where you have to have plans done. You have to have the options understood clearly at the beginning, and then you must have plan B, or you must even have plan C. Well, if you have the grades, if you have the language, and if you have the financials, nothing can stop you. That's the other thing. So we can also find you pathways to house surgeons in countries like the US and the UK as well. But that's for another day. But today's focus has been primarily looking at the systems in Australia and in New Zealand. And let's look at the next question. Yes, scholarships, very limited scholarship, but 99% no scholarship. You should be willing to spend money. And that's again, that again brings back to my earlier statement that go for medicine only if you're really serious about it, and if your family knows what you're getting into. Make sure that it is affordable for you. Otherwise, it's best to consider alternate pathways. Now, that's exactly where we can be of help, because we can find those alternate pathways should you meet any of the barriers. I repeat, if you meet any of the barriers, there could be alternate pathways, but nothing short of high merits, high grades will take you to medical program. Even if you're taking pathways, alternate pathways, you still have to perform well. right? So like in your country, like whichever country you're from, it's the most brilliant students who can actually get into medicine in most cases, isn't it? That is not different here, right? So, right. Now, there is no no credits because they're not comparable. So don't think that you can start medicine in somewhere in the world and then bring it back. No, if that was so easy, why would they make it so difficult at the beginning, isn't it? Look, the standards are stringent and non-negotiable. So transfer is not possible, and that is why ask the question, the important question, where do you want to practice? And that's where you should apply. So if you want to practice medicine in Georgia, apply there. If you want to practice medicine in China, apply there. If you want to practice medicine in Russia, you must study from there. And if you want to practice medicine in New Zealand or Philippines or Australia, you must study there. Or alternatively, I think majority of you would like to practice medicine in your home country, so that's exactly where you should get your medical degree from. I think that should answer most of your other questions, right? We do offer IELTS classes for our preparation program for our students. If you have a complete plan, if you have completed your planning with us, we certainly provide you IELTS support. We provide you more than IELTS. We provide you support in terms of visiting you every semester when you study here. And more so, we will also provide you a safety network to deal with your issues related to your studies or visas. These are the two areas where we continue to provide you support with even after you commence your studies in Australia and New Zealand, right? So that's roughly it. I think this is, again, as I said, it's a very generic, sharing of information, but I hope you have gathered some of the critical points about studying medicine, veterinary science, or dentistry in Australia and in New Zealand. Moving forward, now it's your story. You've heard the generic story, but it's your story. If you want to make it your story, you need to start your journey. Please get in touch with us so that we can get you started as soon as possible. And mind you, the test preparation, like whether it is UMAT or GAMSET and all, should be completed by the end of or mid-August, mostly. After August, you would have missed the bus for 2025. So if you plan to study in 2025, you must complete the test and other process by end of August. So there are only limited period of time. You must apply for the test before, within the next 3 weeks. I think 17th of May is the last date for applying for the test. So you have to do a fair bit of preparation before you are able to apply for the undergraduate intake of medicine, or take the test, the basic test to start with, the UCAT, University Clinical Aptitude Test. Because if you miss that, then you have to wait for another year. That's how it works. So please be hurry. Should you wish to study next year, you must register now, you must plan now, you must decide now, so that we can guide you through the process, right? But once you come to us, we'll do our best to take you to the best university, take you to the best program based on your capacity. The only barrier will be your capacity, be it academic capacity or financial capacity. But if you meet all the capacity, if you have them sufficiently, well, we don't see any reason why you cannot be studying medicine next year. So in Australia or in New Zealand. So all the best. Good luck to you. And yes, I think there's a question about specializing. I've covered the point. Please go back to this video and please listen to it. I've covered about specialization. So I think I've covered all the key points. And should you have any more questions, contact details are given below this video. Please get in touch with us and we'll be the first person to respond as soon as possible. Thank you so much. And everyone listening to me, good luck with your exams, good luck with your admissions. But should you come to us, we will certainly work with you to help you choose the best study option. But also, we will work with you for the next 5 years to execute your long-term plans. Thank you very much. Good luck and good night.